Alright, here's my first hive inspection of the spring. I'm using a little smoke just after I take off the cover because the bees communicate through pheromones, which is giving off a smell. So when I use this smoke, it helps block the pheromones or the smells from getting to each bee. So when I take off the cover, the bees are all angry and upset, and they give off a pheromone or smell that lets all the other bees know that they're getting attacked. So if I blow the smoke around, it lets them, or blocks the signal, and I can go in there without disturbing them too much. So right now I'm using a hive tool to take out one of the frames. It's a little difficult to get the frames out the first time I'm inspecting in the spring because the bees build up a lot of wax. So I have to slowly wedge it out without disturbing the bees too much. So here is a close-up of one of my frames. As you can see, some of those yellow coverings is actually baby bees, and in the holes there you can actually see eggs. So the bees walking over are nurse bees, and they're taking care of the bees that just come out and the eggs. They feed them so that they can grow into nice healthy bees. So as I was looking through my hive, I noticed these cells on the bottom of one of my frames. If you take a look at them, some of them are a lot longer and bigger than all the other ones. Do you know why that is? That's because this is a queen cell. This hive is creating another queen. This is very common in spring for a beehive to do because they have a very strong or high population of bees and they have a limited amount of space. That means that they're actually creating a new queen so that half the hive or half the bees living in this hive will fly away with the new queen and find a new place to live. So what I have to do to stop that from happening so I can keep my bees in my hive is I need to scrape off all these queen cells to make sure that this hive doesn't swarm. So what we are seeing here is the queen must have just hatched recently or just after my inspection, and half the hive is now leaving with her to find a new home. Before they find a new home, the queen's going to rest in a tree where all these bees in the air are going to gather around, like the picture you see here, and they're going to stay here for a day before they find a new place to live. This gives me one opportunity to catch them before they find their new home. Let's see if I can be successful. So, like I said, the queen has finally landed in my neighbor's tree, and all the bees that were flying around now group around her to keep her safe. So I thought, since this hive is trying to make their own new hive, instead of me just having one hive in my backyard, if I capture this hive and this queen, I can start another hive in my backyard. So right now I have everything set up for a new hive to be created in my backyard. So what I'm doing now is I am underneath the swarm with a bucket, because to catch all these bees, all I need to do is capture the queen. So if I can scoop the queen up into the bucket and carry over and dump her into my new hive, all these bees should follow, and I should have another new hive in my backyard. Let's see how it goes. Wish me luck.
They're sitting and they're all sitting there. Oh, perfect. I think he's getting them. bucket full of bees.
So here is the process of me scooping the bees out and then running over the fence to dump them back into the hive. This is actually the third time I did it. The first few videos didn't turn out very well, so as you can tell, there's not many bees in the bucket. And I'm actually returning these bees to the hive that they escaped out of, because I want this one to make sure that they actually still have a strong population of bees. But the first time I scooped the bees out of the tree, I probably had the queen in it, so I did the same thing I'm doing now, dumping it in the hive, but I put those ones into the hive that I have on top of my roof, because that hive does not have a queen, and if I put a new queen in there, all those bees that flew out should come back to that hive, and instead of one hive, now I should have two. So after I scoop out the bees, all I have to do is wait. So it looks like the bees are really vicious, and it looks like if you were outside right now, you would be stung 1,000 times. But guess how many times I was stung during this whole process? Only once. I do have all the safety gear on, but while the bees are swarming, they're really not too dangerous. As long as you're not spraying them or bothering them, the bees wouldn't try to sting you. So if you ever see this happening, make sure you just stay away and watch from a distance. Or you can take cover inside your house.
Yeah, there are thousands of bees in the backyard right now. They should all be going. Dan, dan, dan. So all those bees were just in that tree over there, swarming. And now they're coming back because Matt thinks he might have gotten the queen bee. Oh yeah, they're coming. Cool. You can hear them, eh? If they all come in here, that would be huge. That's the plan. Let's go, girls. You see them fanning? You see some of them really fanning? They're sending out a pheromone. Hey, come here, come here, come here. That's where we're going. Let's see. Protection this time. Alright, that's it. See, they're all coming in. They're all coming into the hive.
Earlier in the video, I used smoke to stop the bees from sending signals to each other. The bees are doing the same thing now, except I'm not doing anything to stop them. So the bees are kind of using almost a dog whistle, but instead of sound, they use a pheromone, or a smell, and they're telling all the other bees right now that the queen is in this hive. So come over here because we found a new place to live. So if you go back in the video, you'll actually see early in the video the bees are kind of flying around, not knowing where to go. But in the last few clips, you can see the bees really starting to move towards the hive. And you can really see now that the bees are just flooding into this hive. That means that this swarm catch was a success. So now I have 2 beehives.